And then when someone passes, all of a sudden everybody comes out of the woodwork. Well, like you said, I want this, I want that. You're like, you weren't here. You didn't visit. I mean, I can't tell you how many times that struggle happens. And if that isn't all planned ahead, it's crazy.
So I see it all the time. Siblings fighting. They are so angry at each other over finances, or oftentimes it is when mom or dad has passed and they haven't planned ahead. So today we're going to be talking to Monica about how do we avoid those interactions between your brother and your sister and all the drama that happens during such a painful time. Hey, Monica, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Melinda, have you seen that as well with people that you love where their parent passes and there's just all this drama and anger and bitterness?
If you can have a good family conversation ahead of time, ideally when the person is still alive, so that there's no second guessing after the fact. Seems to be the biggest thing is our family. It's so funny. People go through the house. Well, I want that when she dies, and I want that when she dies, and I want this. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's not even dead yet, for crying out loud. But it probably is the right time to have that conversation, because I think I'm entitled to some stuff that mom already promised to my brother. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm the one here doing all the work as the caregiver, and he's the one that's going to get the china and the crystal that I would actually use, and he probably never would. So what is your advice to try to not have those kinds of conversations?
Oh my gosh. I can't tell you how many times I've seen things like that where you have one kid that's a caregiver, right? And then when someone passes, all of a sudden everybody comes out of the woodwork. Well, like you said, I want this, I want that. You're like, you weren't here. You didn't visit. I mean, I can't tell you how many times that struggle happens. And if that isn't all planned ahead, it's crazy. I mean, that's what our financial planners and trust attorneys, all that stuff, they tell you to do. But then you come to, okay, now they've passed. Then they all get in the room and they're like, well, mom wanted to be cremated. No, mom wanted to be buried. It's like, okay. And then you get the third one going, I don't remember. I don't know what she said. We never talked about it.
So to be clear, Monica, tell us what your area of expertise is, because people might wonder why you're immediately going to mom just died and what do we do with her body? This is your business. This is what you do.
We do try to make light of some difficult situations.
Right. It's true. I come from, originally I came from senior living and making sure that people had a nice place. But then you go to that next step. And that's actually where I work now. I work for Dignity Memorial. We take care of people's final arrangements. So whether they've passed or they're pre-planning, and that's really where I come in. I educate people about why it's important to pre-plan, and then I get that in place so that they can go and live their lives. And that's where I see it. When I sit with the families, with the funeral director, and people have passed, it can be an absolute nightmare if something isn't already in place. It is a huge blessing. I've never seen anybody go, gee, mom, thanks for pre-planning.
Like, what is pre-planning a funeral? Because I don't know that I really thought about it till I met you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. I've heard about it in the past, but I personally, and not to be sad, but I had to plan for 2 funerals that were unexpected and much too young. And the heaviness and the weight of that is pretty crazy. And one was a real quick sickness and one was a very sudden. And, conversations had kind of been there here and there, but really I was kind of at a loss, and I had to figure this out on my own.
It was like just left to your discretion about what happens, and that's pressure. That's a
lot
on
of
the
pressure.
person that is
Emotionally, you're in the worst place you've ever been. Financially, if you're not planned for it or if you don't have the means, now you're scrambling to try to make things happen, because burial is not inexpensive, it's bottom line. And the other thing too is you're honoring somebody, a life that's been lived. So, I mean, you can, I hate to say it, but a lot of people are like, I just do it on the cheap. It's a life to be honored, so there is a little bit of an expense that goes along with it. So it's kind of tough. And then you get the families in there and they're arguing and they're like, but I don't like cremation and I want to bury mom. Well, she told me that she wanted to be those arguments and that sibling frustration.
So seriously, what do you do when you have that kind of situation? Because somebody has to make a decision.
The problem is they have to find an agreement. The actual burial or the cremation or whatever the final disposition is, we call it a disposition, can't occur until there is an agreement. So oftentimes it'll get postponed for a very long period of time.
Wow.
And
I'm going to ask a really rude question. What
Mhm.
happens to the body
It goes
in
in
that interim?
refrigeration.
It goes, oh my gosh, okay.
That's
We're going to
awful.
refrigerate mom until we can figure this out.
How do you
Oh.
prevent that, Monica? Like, when do you start that planning? So, like for Melinda and I, what
Mhm.
would that look like practically for us when we talk about pre-planning? Someone
Right.
could walk in the office with you, sit down,
Mhm.
you go through a plan, and they
Mhm.
set up a payment plan. Is that what they do? Or
Yeah, I mean that's one option. I mean, we actually offer pre-planning guides. So I have one, and mine's all in pencil because I only know certain things that are not going to change. I know that I personally want to be cremated. Where I'm going to be, I don't know. I still have kids who are in high school and stuff, but I'm that part of the plan is definite. And then I have little things that I put your favorite colors or investments or passwords or whatever it is. There's a guide that kind of puts everything you need in one place. So
oh,
it'll direct you as you go through. You go, oh, I need to do these things as well. So it kind of directs you as
Could we
to
get a
how to put.
copy of that guide, Tina, and
Absolutely.
use it as a resource for this? Okay,
absolutely.
great. That's
Absolutely.
great.
Yep.
That'd be
That's
really
something
helpful.
we
I
give.
want to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, we offer that for free. Actually, it's one of our services. And it's a great guide to kind of show you how to move forward, right? The other thing I tell people, I don't care if you were, born in the 80s, start thinking about it. I told a young couple, they just got married. I said, now start talking. And they looked at me, they started laughing. They said, no, you're right. You're right. We need to start talking because too many times if there's a couple that'll come in and go, well, we never talked about it. You've been married for 60 years and you never talked about what you wanted to do. It happens, and it
Mhm.
happens more often than you think.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's the thing that we are all guaranteed. So I like to have the conversation earlier when it's not really imminent, when it's not going to happen. You can talk about it, have a little lighter feel to it. And like, do you
Right.
want to be cremated? Do you want to be cremated with me? Hey, do you want to get him? We joke,
Right.
but it does help that conversation and say, you know what? Okay, let's do this. Let's plan it. You're doing your financial planning. You're doing your other planning, right? You're planning for college. Well, you know what?
We hope
You're
they
planning.
are. Let's hope that they are.
Well, let's hope so. But you're planning to have something long term, right? This should be a part of that plan so that there's no surprises, except when the actual time occurs. But it's all in place and said, look, mom already said she wanted to have a burial. She already chose her casket. She already chose these things. We can add in whatever we want after the time, but it's all there. So there's no argument,
I
Right.
or,
love
oh, look, mom said she wanted to be cremated. Like in my case, I'm very claustrophobic. Cremate me for crying out loud, you know? And
Can I ask you a question about the cremation thing?
sure.
Just because it's a cremation doesn't mean that there is a memorial service and a ceremony and an
Right.
honoring of the life, right? I mean, that
Right.
is part of the service. It's not just the casket that you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to sell somebody. It's this whole experience of
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful send off to a
Mm-hmm.
wonderful life, like a
Exactly.
celebration of life kind of a thing. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you can do everything from basic all the way to the most extravagant. But that's the beautiful thing is you get to choose and you
Right.
get to put that in place the way you want to have it. And like you were saying before, yes, you can pay for it all up front or you can make payments. But the thing is, you're locking in the prices today because I will tell you that this is probably one of those industries that constantly inflates every single year. Every year it becomes more and more expensive. And
Can
it's
I
just
ask you another rude question?
yeah,
Rude
yeah, go ahead.
questions today.
I like to bring it on.
What is the range of, you say, a moderate? What was that? What I mean, I'm just really kind of, because most people aren't walking into your business and saying, "Hey, give me some estimates on this." So
Oh
I
no,
think
they
this is
do.
really valuable for people to know. Like,
Mhm.
is it $1,000? Is it $10,000? Is it $100,000? I mean, I just have no concept of what the range is for this whole
You'll want to expect
celebration.
to spend, somewhere between 3,000 if you're getting very, very basic. And depending on where you're located and who you're using. I mean, you can go less than that, but I'm talking, bare
Yeah,
bones. You're
pine
walking
box.
into
Right.
McDonald's
Yeah.
and walking out. So I would say roughly you're looking around 3,500 all the way up to 25,000, depending on what you're looking for. And that's not including burial space.
Okay.
So that in and of itself, and that's something too that a lot of people don't think about with cremation. And then we end up with ashes, from Goodwill. Hi, we have this urn. We thought it was a vase. It has ashes in it.
Oh,
Or
wow.
or realtors will call and be like, so there's two things of ashes in the back, and the family said to throw it out. We don't feel right doing that. Can we give them to you?
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
sad. it breaks my heart, to be honest with you, because somebody didn't care. I always tell people, what is your plan for your ashes? Even if it's just scattering, do something that honors, that memorializes that person, but do it in a respectful way. I mean, that's something I didn't even think about. I spread my mom's ashes. I'm like, I left no footprint on here. So at some point I will do something that marks that my mom's, feet were on this earth, and I'll probably do
Yeah.
it with me. And those are things that people don't think about. So yeah, you're roughly looking, depending on, like I said, anywhere from the low thousands all the way up to 25,000. I think I
So
think I
Monica, you're here in Florida, you're licensed in Florida. If someone's here, they can make an appointment with you. They can stop in, they can have those conversations with you. Or is that guide that you talked about, is that something we could download, that we could give them a link and they could download for free? Or is that
I
something you physically have to get to
It's
them?
a physical document.
Oh,
I
okay.
I think there was a downloadable version of it, but I'm somebody recently, a funny thing, they mentioned that they said, I got a downloadable version, but I don't really, it's kind of hard to use. I think that having that physical book and writing in it and then keeping it someplace safe where other people can see it, that's probably your best bet. I don't have the downloadable version. I have just the one that's, and then we also have guides for veterans as well. So I'm very veteran friendly. I'm a Navy brat myself. So very, very, I try to help the veterans find, as much as benefits as possible as well.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So if
great.
you are a veteran, is there a special service? My parent served and I wasn't aware, like, what are some of those benefits that a veteran would get that I would want to take advantage of,
Oh my gosh. So depending on, we have wonderful connections with organizations that kind of help veterans try to find whatever benefits there are. There is a very minor burial, or like a burial benefit that can be obtained by your next of kin, but it's hard to obtain. I know that, but we can direct you to how to do that. Also, the biggest benefit for veterans who qualify, which is anyone who I believe has served, there's some other criteria, but they do get free burial at any national cemetery. So like here in South Florida, we have our South Florida National Cemetery in the Lake Worth, Wellington area. It's a beautiful cemetery. Veterans are able to be buried there free of charge, meaning either cremation in a columbarium, or buried, meaning on the wall, or buried, or an actual burial itself. The only stipulation, and your spouse can also do that. You have to be legally married, and you have to do the same. So one can't go, be buried, and the other one be cremated. You have to do, how they're uniform. Military is very uniform.
Right.
One spouse goes, the other one's got to go the same.
Yeah.
So, but also with the columbariums, it's the same thing. That's really what it is. With cremated remains, you have to have 100% of your ashes there. So that's kind of important to know. Sometimes they have keepsakes and stuff. You're really, that they don't allow for that. So those are the benefits with veterans. Also, if you do a private cemetery, generally the VA will pay for the marker. They won't pay for the burial site or anything in a private place, but they will take care of the marker for you.
Right.
Wow,
Oh, that's
that's
lovely.
interesting.
That's lovely. It's the least we can do if you've served our country, right?
I agree.
Don't you love my flag in the background?
Yeah,
I know. I love it.
I know. I'm with you. My mom, as a matter of fact, is a veteran. My dad's a veteran. My son is in the military. I was a military wife for 12 years. So I'm definitely pro-military, to say the least. So Monica, thank you. Thank you for being with us today, because that, I think, is a topic that no one wants to talk about, but we all need to talk about it. And so I think that you sharing your wisdom is such a blessing to so many. So if you are following this and you're following the Caregiver Podcast, just be sure that you share this with people, because a lot of people out there need to hear about this. We want to help avoid the fights and the angry. I mean, I've been to funerals of people that I know that had the best relationship as siblings until their parent passed. And now none of them are speaking to each other because of the funeral arrangements and because the financial situation was not taken care of ahead. And it's so sad, and it doesn't have to be that way. And I deal with the same thing on a daily basis, like with people that are considering caregiving and they're considering assisted living. One sibling wants it, one doesn't. So if the family comes together early and has those conversations, so much of this can be avoided, and those great relationships can be salvaged and protected from all of this. So I really encourage people to start early.
Yes, absolutely. I thank you for that. And thank you for letting me share. And Hopefully we're able to, find a little bit of lightness in something that, isn't always there. So I
Yeah,
appreciate the time.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's a heavy topic, but we appreciate what you're doing. That's for sure.
And you had great questions. I really, those are awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And don't forget, everyone, to subscribe and make sure to share this with someone. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us today. Subscribe and come back next week for more expert guidance, real support, and even a little laughter.